What do I know? I'm just a girl on the internet. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. This is Girl on the Internet. We have a sign and everything, so it's extremely official. I am your girl on the internet. My name is Kayla. If you're new, hi. If you've been here for a minute, what's up? You guys know the drill by now. Listen, you know what I was thinking about the other day? I was with one of my friends and we were talking about just different life phases that we all inevitably go through, right? Some of us had like an emo phase or an angsty teen phase, obsessed with a boy band phase. Maybe we cut our own bangs. I feel like inevitably everybody goes through some kind of phase in their life where they look back on it and they're just like, why did we do that? What was happening in that time? For me, I feel like I went through so many phases because naturally, as a teenager and a youngin', you're trying to identify yourself and figure out who you are and what you like, but you are very much influenced by what's happening around you. The kids at your school, your friends, what's happening online for whatever social media was back in the early to 2010s timeframe. But I was thinking particularly when I was talking to my friend about this, about just the phase of Tumblr and how that really shaped me into the human that I am today. Before that, MySpace. But what's at the forefront of my memory is Tumblr. Okay, I was 14, 15, 16, running a blog like the damn military. Okay, I had a One Direction Tumblr blog and I had a regular one. And my goal was to be aesthetic and cool and awesome. And I was trying to be famous on Tumblr. I was trying to do anything possible to make cool photos and to post them and to get a lot of notes and to just be this like cool hipster kind of gal. Okay, so we see how that worked out for me, right? I'm like Tumblr famous, right? What's funny to me is the different phases that I went through on Tumblr alone, like trying to be all angsty and sad. And then I went to like hipster where I was like, me and my Arizona tea, watch out guys, me and my that was another phase. I thought it would be cool and trendy like everyone else online. They were drinking hot teas, like an Earl Grey tea with milk in it. I drank that purely for the vibes because that was actually disgusting. Hot tea with milk in it. I know that's like a common thing or it's popular in some places, but I was purely doing it for the aesthetic. So there's been a lot of growth because now I don't do anything for an aesthetic. I do it because I like it. But Tumblr was a wild time. If you were there, you get it. If you weren't, you might not understand. I do have 2 videos on my YouTube channel where I dissect my old Tumblr. I was actually able to remember my old usernames and URLs, and I was able to go to my Tumblr page and just kind of react to said things that I would share. So when in doubt, here's the thing. This is how we're going to talk about how you gain a little self-confidence, right? If you feel ashamed of yourself now, if you're like, I'm not cool, I'm just like, it could be better, nobody likes me, I'm just I don't have enough friends. I feel like majority of my audience is in their 20s plus. Not sure what the dynamic is under 20, questionable, but for anyone that's 20 plus, if you're having a bad day and you're feeling bad about yourself, just know that the you that you are now is much cooler than you were at 15. Okay? Much cooler than you were at 13. All right? You've grown, you've gained confidence, you're cooler, you're more secure in yourself. So if you're having a bad day, just think about that. Because sometimes I reflect and I'm like, well, at least I'm not the same like annoying 14-year-old that I once was. I mean, the antics are still there. I'm still very much annoying. But now I can just do it online in front of all of you on a podcast. So there's that. I feel like it's been a minute since I have said something along the lines of, I can't believe it's already the end of the month on the podcast. I feel like I used to almost say that every single podcast episode because time is not real. I've also said that a million times, but here I am again, sitting here at the end of September and just thinking, where the hell did September go? Because what? First of all, this year has been a whole lot and then some, most of you know at this point, but it's just, I'm thinking, I don't even remember starting really the month of September. I don't know when it stopped being summer, honestly. Not mad about it. You guys know my thoughts on fall. I love it. It's the best season, arguably. And yeah, when I was doing my podcasting schedule, I'm like, oh, I have to already start planning some of my October episodes. That's crazy. Beverage of the episode is a homemade matcha. I am definitely in my matcha era. I love it so much. I have quite literally perfected my own at-home recipe. I love it. And it tastes so creamy and delicious, and it's not too sweet and it's not too bitter. Amazing. Although I did make this like an hour ago and it's been sitting on my counter, so there's a lot of condensation on the glass and a little bit of settling of the matcha powder in the bottom. Also, not my brightest idea to drink a green drink on my brand new white couch that I record the podcast on. If you're currently watching the video form of the podcast over on my YouTube channel, you might notice the shirt. And I, for one, just have to say that this is probably one of my favorite shirts I now own. It's for the audio listeners, it is a nice, like bluish, almost like the girl on the internet blue color. Clearly, I have a favorite color. I'm just going to label it girl on the internet blue. It's probably like royal blue or something. Girl on the internet blue, oversized t-shirt, and then in white font embroidered across the chest, it says, "I cry a lot, but I am so productive. It's an art," with an exclamation point. If you don't get the reference, I'll give you 4 seconds to guess what it's a reference to. Yeah, it's a Taylor Swift's lyric, okay? You guys already knew that. Even if you don't know Taylor Swift, you knew that it was like, I'm really predictable at this point. 9 times out of 10, something coming out of my mouth is going to be related to Taylor Swift. But anyways, I digress. I got this shirt at a little pop-up event that happened in Charlotte a couple of months ago. I went with some of my friends. It was very like Taylor Swift themed. There were like Taylor Swift pop-up tattoo places, and then there was like merch, and there was all kinds of really cool stuff. Also got my tarot cards read for the first time. That was really cool. But amongst all the jewelry and the cool things, there were t-shirts, and they just had different Taylor lyrics on them, and I resonated with this one. I've also talked about a little bit how when the Tortured Poets department came out, it was very close in proximity of time to when my mom passed away, and it was hard for me to really like absorb the album and really listen to it and really, familiarize myself with the lyrics. But when I could regain some consciousness and actually understand the lyrics, when I heard "I Can Do It With a Broken Heart," I was like, this song actually was written for me during this time. Like, I cry a lot, but I am so productive. Yeah, that was me. Like, as my mom was not well and sick and after. And I saw the shirt and I was like, I have to have it. So, and now I'm wearing it because I know I was crying in the last episode of the podcast. I've cried a couple times now on the pod and also on my YouTube channel for my regular videos. So that just means we're close friends. That just means it's like when we're on FaceTime and I'm like, girl, I'm about to cry. I got to tell you something. And you're just like, hey, that's fine. Crying's okay. Crying is okay. But yes, if you didn't know, I have audio and video forms of the podcast, so whichever you prefer. I know some people just like to listen to the audio form when they're driving or working out or whatever. But if you're interested in the video component and want to pretend like we're hanging out, because we kind of are, because you can see me, you can head over to my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Kayla Nelson, and I have a whole separate playlist for the podcast episodes. I have a regular YouTube channel with lifestyle videos and things and cat videos and whatever, but I also have a separate playlist for the podcast. So if you're interested in that, check it out. I talked about in the last episode, which was my first episode back in several months, that I redid the corner of my podcast studio, aka my apartment, and it got a little makeover and it looks really good. And I have a cute little girl on the internet neon sign. So go check that out if you want. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That would be great. So when I was brainstorming for this episode and I wanted to talk about things in life that we cannot control versus the things that we can control, and just how we perceive ourselves in this life and how we decide to make friendships or get into relationships or how we just exist. So many things came to mind and I was just jotting them down, and I was like, the ideas were just like rapid fire coming into my brain and I was really excited about it. And then I just sort of started to expand on this idea of just generally how we see ourselves and how we treat ourselves, and also what we do with ourselves in this life. So I mentioned in the last episode, I've also mentioned before on the podcast and in general, I'm in therapy. I'm a huge advocate for therapy if that's something that you want to try. I know also just affordability is also in question, socioeconomic status, maybe where you live, what resources you have available. I know it's not available to everybody, but if you can try it, I highly recommend. It's not sponsored at all, this portion, what I'm about to say, but I know there are apps and things like BetterHelp where maybe you can't drive to an appointment, but you can do it virtually on your phone. I actually have a therapy horror story episode on my podcast. And I was in the process of getting a new therapist, and, time got away, life got busy, whatever. I had put it on the back burner for so long. I ended up finding another therapist who I was with for a while. And then she told me that she was actually going back to school and she wasn't going to take clients anymore. So then I was like, okay, I just don't have anybody. And then it wasn't until this year, after everything that happened with my mom, I was like, okay, I need to get my ass back in therapy. Like, I have to, not only for the grief portion of it, but also for the life portion of it. I'm just a big advocate for therapy because everyone is dealing with real life, with this life that we are all a part of. It can be hard. It can be stressful. It can be overwhelming. It can be confusing. I've said that a million times. I think that goes without saying at this point. Everyone's life has something in it that can be frustrating, challenging, difficult to navigate, uncertainty. We're not perfect humans. We are not designed that way. We also are not designed to have everything figured out for ourselves 100% of the time and just to make all the right and perfect decisions all the time. So again, that's why I like therapy. Even the people I talk to, they're like, but I don't have any problems, or like, I'm not depressed, I'm not sad. I guarantee if you sit down with a therapist, the right one, they can start to ask you questions that the gears are going to start to turn, and you're going to start to talk about whether it be your childhood, your parents, a relationship, friendships, self-sabotaging moments, anxieties that you didn't know you had. And therapy is not meant to like find the weak spots of you. It's to help you be a more well-rounded human, to be better in this life, to be better for yourself, to be better in relationships and friendships, at your job, to just cope with life, because life is crazy. Life is crazy. That's like goes without saying, especially nowadays with social media and doom scrolling and the constant like input of information and news. Yeah. Recently, my therapist and I have been talking about the things that you can control versus the things you can't control, and just generally how you show up for yourself. And I want to elaborate. It was just such I had my appointment earlier this week, and it was so inspiring. I'm like, I'm going to talk about that on the podcast. Hey girl, I'm going to actually steal what you're saying and give the people free advice. Don't worry. I paid the bill for the therapy session, so you can get it for free. Look at that. You're so welcome. But there are people in life, I'm sure we all can think of somebody, or maybe we know somebody, or maybe it's you, I don't know, who are insanely controlling and want to constantly fix people or change them or tweak something about them, or literally anybody else or any other possible situation. I can name a few. And those people are so incredibly difficult to deal with. Because if you're a go with the flow kind of person, if you're like, I don't care what random Joe Schmo is doing walking down the street, he's not affecting me, I'm not affecting him, and he's not hurting anybody or himself. He can do whatever he wants. But there are people that will be driving and look on the sidewalk and see Joe Schmo doing something. Maybe it's whatever, smoking a cigarette, spitting gum on the ground, I don't know. And people just get in their head of like this idea of, oh, this person should be doing this, or they could do this better, or they should change that, or they could. Sorry, what? Hey, actually, that's crazy. Hey, so that's crazy. Do you understand how disconnected from yourself you have to be obsessed with wanting to control other people? That is low self-esteem at its core. If you are in a relationship with someone who is trying to control you and tell you what to do all of the time or change who you are, That's a them problem. It's easy to think, oh my gosh, well, maybe I am annoying, or maybe I am too loud, or maybe I am overweight or whatever. No, this is something in that relationship where this other person has honed in and tried to find some kind of insecurity of yours, to prey on it, and then to attack you for it and to make you feel inferior. And that comes from lack of self-esteem from that person. It doesn't even have to be about control necessarily. You can be with someone or know someone who gets frustrated, worked up, angry, annoyed, bitter, mad at a situation or a scenario that has absolutely nothing to do with them. And to me, that is such a mind-boggling observation, because there are people out there who will lose sleep over what somebody else is doing, or what somebody else is saying, or the money that someone is spending on something, or the lifestyle choices of somebody else. What? And it's not even things that matter. It's not like, oh, my close friend has been chain smoking cigarettes since she was 7 years old. I'm concerned about her. It's not that. It's like, oh, I don't like that my friend spends so much money on clothes. Like, that's just like not, she buys designer clothes, and I just like don't like that. I would like to tell her just to not do that, because that's just like a waste of money. Oh, okay. So that's actually like really low self-esteem. That's actually like you deflecting because there's something in your life that makes you unhappy. Because again, if it's not over a serious topic or something that is actually like detrimental to somebody's health or well-being, or they're hurting you or themselves or whatever, why the fuck does it matter? Why the literal fuck does it matter? That's what my therapist and I were discussing this week, is detaching yourself from certain people in your life who are control freaks, and specifically the kind that, again, want to change you, fix you, belittle you, whatever, or people in your life, not necessarily you, or they are just so worried about what everybody else is doing, or they have the nerve to judge other people or say things about other people that they don't know. And they can't look in the mirror for 2 seconds and identify their own problems. That's the biggest damn red flag. And those people are so incredibly toxic. Again, I can name a few, and I have been working on strategies through therapy in my own life to deal with those kinds of people. For me personally, I am a very optimistic, happy-go-lucky kind of gal, if you guys didn't catch on at this point. I don't like to complain a lot. I don't like to sit in negativity. I don't like to wallow in self-pity. I just choose to see life with a silver lining. Is that obnoxious sometimes? Yes. Is it sometimes a little delusional to look at life through that lens? Absolutely. I know life's not perfect. I know life is not inherently good. I know that my life is not necessarily perfect either, but I choose optimism and I choose happiness, because I have seen too many people in my life just be so dang miserable and sad and upset because all they want to do is control everybody else, and they want things to go their way or the highway, and they just can't find happiness. And I have learned through those people that what a miserable way to live. What an absolutely miserable way to live. To be bitter and angry all the time. To be so worked up about what somebody else is doing. To be so worked up about somebody else's lifestyle choices or what they're doing or not doing. That's exhausting. And that is not a life that I choose to live. Because of my happy-go-lucky, optimistic, seeing things through a clear lens, I usually try to give everybody a chance in whatever definition that means, whether that be a friendship, a relationship, you did me dirty and I'm going to forgive you and we'll try again. I try to see the good in people. Again, is that the best decision all the time? No. Does it backfire sometimes? Absolutely. But it's better than going into it with a negative connotation of like, oh, here's another person that's just going to like fuck me over. Here's another person who's going to be terrible, because that will just completely change your brain chemistry. And then you're not going to get anywhere with friendships, relationships, people you work with, those sorts of things. So in my own behavior and personality, again, what I'm learning through therapy is just seeing the good in people and accepting them for who they are and wanting to just have that warmth with other people. When I encounter someone who is incredibly controlling or manipulative or just negative Nancy kind of vibe, it's really easy for me to get wrapped up in that, because I like to be under the assumption of, because of my positive personality and my optimism and like I'm a very like low effort kind of friend, meaning just I'm kind of a low effort kind of gal, meaning you don't have to show up for me in this big fancy way. I don't need anything big. I don't need anything fancy. I don't need fireworks and glitter and all these crazy things for a friendship, for a relationship, for life. Like I'm a low effort kind of gal. And I feel like I use that to enhance the friendships and the life that I live. And it just makes me happy. I feel like with that, I can spread joy. I feel like the friends that I have are happy to be my friend because I know that I can help bring out the best in them, that I am supportive of them, that they are supportive of me. Like I've worked really hard on that, because there were many times in my past where I wasn't showing up for my friends. I wasn't showing up for myself. Lots and lots and lots of time and works in progress. So when I encounter these people, again, manipulative, controlling, whatever, I get so wrapped up in my own head. And those are the kinds of people who will actually like affect my own mentality. And I will almost want to change who I am because of their behavior, which is crazy because someone who's trying to manipulate you, that's exactly what they want. They want you to change. They want you to be different. They want you to feel inferior. So you will gaslight yourself and be like, maybe I do need to change. Maybe I do need to be different. Oh my gosh, this person is right. Wow. And that is such a crazy thing. Because when I'm around those kind of people, if I do encounter them, again, I see the best in people. I'm like, okay, maybe this is just like maybe they're going through something, right? Like me, always like forgiving, empathetic. And then over time, it's like, oh no, like they are so wildly unhappy that they are projecting onto me. They don't like my lifestyle choices. They want me to be different, to look different, to act different, to do things under their own account, to do things that they think is best for them, for me, their way or the highway kind of thing. Like you should do something this way because it works for me. So it's automatically going to work for you and everybody else. And if everyone else in life just did this one thing, we'd all like live in harmony and everything would be great. And when you're around those people long enough, you do gaslight yourself a little bit. And you're like, damn, they have a good point. Manipulators are really good at being manipulative. Shocker, who knew? But it's so easy to fall for that and to be sucked in to this mentality of, yeah, maybe I could change. Maybe I could do things differently. Maybe I could be better at something. Especially when you are already lacking self-confidence and self-worth and self-esteem. And again, those things I have struggled with my whole life. I, for the first time in my life, am working through this negative connotation toward myself, undermining my self-worth, undermining what I deserve. So when you are this person who is so self-conscious, no esteem, you are just vulnerable, you take that manipulative person and they're going to leech on to you as this weak individual who is lacking all of those confident personality traits or whatever, and they're going to suck the absolute life out of you. And it's going to not be forgiving at all. And they don't care and they don't see it. They think that they're doing you a favor, right? Manipulators think like, I'm doing you a favor. You should thank me for this. No, that is control. They're trying to control you. They see you as a weak link and they're like, we need to fix this. Like you could be fixed. This could be better. And it is the craziest realization when you see it for what it is and you reflect on it and you're like, holy shit, they didn't care for me. They didn't want to see me better myself. They wanted me to change to fit the standard that they have set for me in their own head. And that is so fucked up. And having that conversation with my therapist, especially this week, about those sort of controlling type people, it's no wonder that I have had a hard time in the past dating and trusting people. And I have a very small group of friends because that's how I like it, because I trust that group of friends. I don't like to necessarily meet new people because I'm scared. I'm going to fall back into that place. I'm going to meet someone who's really great and amazing and charming at first, but they're going to swoon me in and then manipulate me and then start to control me and trying to change who I am after I've done all this work and put all this work into myself to be who I am right now, which is my favorite version of myself, because I've worked really hard on finding my inner confidence, on being authentic to myself, on not giving a fuck what anyone else thinks of me, because who fucking cares? Like, I have just gotten to that point where I'm like, holy shit, no wonder I freak out when I want to download the dating apps, or when someone's like, oh, I want to set you up with this guy. I'm like, no, I'll just be single. I'll be alone. It's fine. No, we don't trust these hoes around here. We don't trust anybody. But it like literally have goosebumps right now. No one can probably see that, but it's just such a wild thing. Again, that's why therapy, I think, is so amazing. You find things out about yourself you didn't even realize. I had no idea that my own vulnerability and my own insecurities and the things that I avoided or deflected or didn't do or did do was because of people in my life who have been so controlling and manipulative. It's no wonder your self-esteem is in the trash when you have heard repeatedly, you could do this better. You could be better at this. Why not this? Why not this way? Well, you could look like this. You could be this skinny. You could be this pretty. You could have hair like whatever, fill in the blank. Again, you could get better grades. You know, you could have another job. Like, yeah. That's going to make you feel like shit. That's going to make you be like, well, who am I? Because I'm not worthy. I don't deserve anything. I suck. Clearly this person wants me to be different because the version I am right now is not good enough for them. Oh my God, that will make you fall into a hole and want to kill yourself. That right there is going to make you go crazy. And if you marry that, if you date that, if you're around that, imagine what that does to your brain. Imagine what that does to your heart, to your soul, to your personality, to the decisions that you make. If you let those kind of people into your life and you let them stay, you're better off just, I don't even know, hiding under a rock at that point, because they are going to make your life so miserable and you are going to not feel like you are living up to the full potential of yourself. And again, I'm speaking from experience at this point. It is so incredible to break free from the chain that has been put around you from a manipulative, controlling human being. Because when you can break that cycle, when you can distance yourself, when you can set boundaries, when you can cut them out of your life completely, whatever your preference is, it just feels like you're seeing sunlight for the first time, because there's no one in your ear being like, wow, if only you did this better. If only you did this differently. You could do this better. You could. Wait, so I'm actually worthy of things? I deserve good things to happen to me no matter what? I actually am enough? I'm actually doing things right? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that this thing could be done 10 different ways and it'd still be right. Oh, because I thought it was just one way or nothing, because that's what I was under the assumption because of that person. Oh, so you mean to tell me the job I have is fine and normal and I make enough money to get by and it's okay and my life choices are actually okay? And the fact that I'm not hurting myself or anyone else, I'm actually doing okay? And I don't need to change everything about me because? Oh, right. It's like I'm rebirthed at this point. It's like I'm literally like, oh, it's my first day on earth. Hey guys, I'm my own person now. Hey, I have my own brain again. And I don't feel like I'm being controlled by, what are the things, like little puppet on the string kind of situation. Big week for me in therapy this week. Huge. I had the biggest week in therapy. So big that everyone else would be jealous of the big week that I had in therapy because I have the best therapist. I need to stop doing those impressions because I actually hate that man. Anyways, who said that? What an eye-opening week in therapy. And not just this week, I've learned a lot in every week so far and all the things, but my God, did it just finally click for me that Also, the personality that I have, I tend to attract people who like to be controlling. You know why? Because the controlling, manipulative, unhappy people are just that. They are unhappy. They are manipulative. They want to change. They don't like to see people be happy. They don't like to see people thriving because they are so miserable in their own little shell and their little life because they won't buy the things that make them happy or bring them joy, or they, won't indulge on the things that are fun in this life, or they're constantly nitpicking everything and nothing is perfect enough for them. So they are so damn miserable. When a controlling person sees a person like me, they're like, again, it is like a target on my freaking forehead. And they're like, that one right there. She's happy. She makes her own decisions. She doesn't live in fear or live in this like mindset of wanting to change everything. Yeah. So naturally I attract those kind of people. Because when they get around me, they're like, oh, let's change everything. Yeah, you can't be happy all the time. No, let me tell you about all the bad things, right? Let me tell you about all the things that are crazy in this life. So you want to freak out and be upset and feel inferior. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I didn't know that I was going to be a magnet for people who were control freaks and manipulative. That makes so much sense. Thank you. No wonder the last 4 situationships I've been in, they were manipulative. And they walked all over me and made me feel like less than a human, made me question my self-worth. Oh my God, it makes sense. When they say opposites attract, they aren't kidding. But opposites may attract, but it's up to you to decide, is this working or is this ruining me? Okay, and for me, opposites attract. When a manipulative person rolls into my life, I'm like, no, because I can now spot it a mile away. I can see the behaviors a mile a freaking way. I've touched on a few of the characteristics in my little rant here about people who are manipulative. But what other traits do people have? What if I could tell you, the listener, something to look out for? If you're starting a new relationship, if you have your friend's significant other who you just feel a little uneasy, a little off about. If you, maybe it's you. I will say though, people that are manipulative have a really hard, control freak kind of people. They don't really self-reflect. So you could literally play this podcast episode to someone who is manipulative and controlling and be like, who's that? That's not me. They just don't have that, the self-awareness, if you will, to identify the wrong because they think they're always right. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Did you know someone who is controlling usually thinks they're always right? Did you know someone who's manipulative thinks that they're always right? Crazy. And you're always wrong, by the way. But what other what other traits can you look out for and identify? Again, you're on Hinge, you're looking for people, and you start to notice these behaviors, whether this be over text, in person, whatever. To name a few that I can think of, again, what I've talked to my therapist about and whatever. So again, manipulative, very easy to want to control you or change you or sway you, even talking you into things that you don't want to do or things that are out of character for you. Someone who's constantly degrading you. It doesn't even have to be constant. It can be little subtle, over time episodes of degrading you that not the playful fun kind where you're degrading somebody, whatever, but the actual kind where it's they're making you feel like shit because that's what they want to do is make you feel less than nothing. So feeling degraded or being degraded, making fun of you or mocking you for being your real self, whether this be the type of laugh that you have, the looks, your physical appearance, the choices you make, the things you do, the foods you eat, whatever. If they are mocking you for that or make fun of you or question it or make you feel stupid, gaslight, that would be a red flag. Someone who is constantly talking and gossiping about everybody else, maybe a coworker, maybe an ex-girlfriend, maybe their own parent, fill in the blank. If someone you're around is constantly talking about other people, and it can be about literally anything, their physical appearance, how they behave, what they do, what they eat, what they spend their money on, what their house looks like. If they just cannot get someone else's name out of their mouth, screaming insecurity red flag from 10 miles away. We all gossip. We all talk shit about people. I'm not saying it's every person that talks shit. I'm talking about the people who cannot ever not talk about somebody else at all. Like every time you're around that person, they're always talking shit, or they're saying something rude or degrading, or saying something that's going to belittle somebody else. Best believe you better run the other way. Best believe you better book it out of whatever area and situation you're in with that person, because that is the clearest sign, I think, of them all. Another thing too, I think is a big one, is these sorts of people can't self-reflect to save their life. And as someone who's on the empathetic side, I feel bad for them, because they have this mindset where they think that they are superior and better than everybody, and that they are on this pedestal. So they really can't hone in and think and self-reflect. And someone who cannot take criticism well, who you cannot have a good conversation with without them turning it into an argument or a heated discussion where nothing gets accomplished. If they can't take feedback in any capacity, especially if it's like negative feedback, if they only want to be praised or told that they're good at certain things, if they don't want to hear anything negative, and they're just like, no, tell me how great I am. Tell me how amazing I am. You know, tell me like that constant need for validation. I get it. As humans, we all like to be validated. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's like an extreme at this point. You can't even have like a regular conversation with some of these people, because they will just turn it into an argument or something problematic, or they're going to twist it and make it about them somehow. You know, for example, say you're in a relationship. You come home from work, you're both home, maybe you're cooking dinner together. Oh, sweetie, how was your day? Well, my day was just so hard, and I work with all these idiots, and like no one can do anything right, and I just, you know, I'm just the smartest person where I work, and I work the hardest, and no one even appreciates me and what I do, and I should make way more money and whatever. And, you know, I think I should just, I just wish I made $1 million a year and I could quit my job, and I hate working. It's just stupid. I have a stupid job. I hate my boss. Notice how they complained the whole time. Notice how they didn't say anything about themselves. Like, I kind of slipped, on my work this week, and I wasn't working as hard as I could have. It's always pointing the finger to somebody else. And notice how in that example, they didn't say, and how was your day? And how are you feeling? Because another trait of someone who is usually manipulative, controlling, they're a little bit of a narcissist. Little bit. Not always, but sometimes. That's what we call like the trifecta, when someone is a narcissistic, manipulative control freak. Woo, right there, that's gonna do it. That right there is a triple whammy. That's gonna take you out. Yeah, that right there, that's really gonna make you question yourself, especially if that person's in your life. You're going to feel like you're gaslit 24/7. You're going to not know up from down. It's going to be awful. Like, no wonder you're going to have self-confidence issues when you're around someone like that. Hello? To have someone with narcissistic tendencies, to let it be, again, all about them. They're on a pedestal. It's all about them. Their life is the hardest. They work the hardest. They do everything the best. No one else can compare. Run. Look at me. If you're watching the video form, run. If you have a significant other like that, a friend, whoever, book it for the hills. I'm serious. That is not something that's going to go away. Narcissists usually do not ever change, right? Because they don't see it. They don't get it. They don't understand what they're doing is bad. They think, but I'm helping everybody, but I'm just giving advice. I want the best for people. No, you want to change people. You want to manipulate them. You want to feel like you are in control of every fucking situation, and you want to feel like you're the best at everything. It's not about wanting to help somebody. You're not doing it out of the interest of that person or from the goodness of your heart. This is you playing mind games with people and wanting to be in control, because there's something in their life that they lack control of. They lack self-esteem. They lack confidence. There's something in their life that they can't control. So they feel the need to deflect and control everything else. Right? I know, blew my mind too in therapy, but I could do a whole other episode on narcissists. Maybe I will someday, but that is another huge trait. If you notice that you have a friend, significant other, coworker, again, whoever is in your life, platonic, whatever, blah, blah, whatever, fill in the blank. I've said fill in the blank 100 times, but it's true. You really can. If you notice your conversations are one-sided, the affection is one-sided, the relationship is one-sided, the work ethic is one-sided, the love, the joy, the whatever is all one-sided with somebody who is narcissistic, that may not change, and likely it won't. No matter how much work you put in, no matter how much effort you make, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, chances are they are not going to budge. Narcissists do not budge. They are the most, I'm not going to say too much. They are the most bold-headed people that exist, and they genuinely think that they are God's gift to this earth, that they are here to help and to make things better, and they are better, and they're doing things better. And they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to accept your feedback. They're not going to reflect. They're not going to be like, oh, maybe I did do something wrong. Maybe you can do something a different way and it'd be okay. Maybe I did overreact. No. There is no self-reflection. There is no opportunity for change or for improvement. And these are the people too that you'll be like, hey, would you go to therapy? And they're going to be like, therapy's for people who are weak or have problems or whatever. They don't think that applies to them because they are above all of that, because they live in this little place where it's all about them and everything is perfect, but they got to change everybody else because it's not them. It's never them. But that person's wrong, but that person's wrong, but that person's wrong. And you know what's fucking funny about that? Again, speaking from experience, you will see this person burn so many bridges, whether this be at jobs, in relationships, with children, with spouses, with relatives, whomever. Was whomever the correct word to use? I don't know. Whomever. I like to say whomever, makes me sound fancy. They will burn so many bridges in their life, and it will not click that they are the problem. Coworkers that turn against them, no friends, family that doesn't want to talk to them, children that don't want to be around them, spouses that want to leave them, whatever, you name it. And these people are so lonely and so miserable, and they still have the nerve to be like, well, no one wants to take advice from me. No one wants to be around me because I just, that sucks for them because I know it all. It's like, have you for 2 fucking seconds looked in the mirror and realized how lonely and sad your life is? And how you have no friends, you have no support, people don't want to be around you, people don't want to engage in this, you have no one showing up for you or being around you or advocating for you because you've cut ties and you've burned bridges because you've made everyone feel like shit, you've belittled everybody, you've tried to manipulate and control everyone in your life. Hello? Look in the fucking mirror, and they can't. And it's, again, as someone like myself who's very empathetic, that breaks my heart, because when I see people like that in my life, my heart breaks for them. I'm like, I cannot imagine not having not even an ounce of self-awareness to be like, wow, I really don't have friends. Wow, people really don't care about me because I don't care about them. People really don't want the best for me or want to be around me because I make everything miserable. To not have that kind of self-awareness is just crazy to me. But again, I've done a lot of my own work on myself growing up in therapy and all the things. But yeah, those people just really don't think that there's anything ever wrong. And you, again, can't have a healthy conversation. You can't sit down with them and be like, let's talk about a problem that I'm having, and I don't want you to yell at me or to get frustrated when I say this. I want to have a productive conversation. Those don't exist. Those do not exist. Productive conversations do not exist with people who are narcissists or people that are trying to control you or be manipulative. They just don't. But again, someone like myself, with the personality that I have, with the opportunity to try to see the good in people, with the willingness to hold out my hand and say, take my hand, I'll help you, I'll be there for you, and give them 4, 5, 6, 7 chances, that's when I get hurt. And that's when I realize I cannot focus on those kinds of people. I cannot base my self-worth off of what those kinds of people think about me. First of all, you shouldn't base your self-worth on what anyone thinks about you. That should come from your own heart and soul and what you put out into the universe and how you treat others and yourself. That's where your self-worth, I think, comes from. And you have to be the one that every night you go to sleep with yourself, you lay your own head on that pillow and you wake up in your own body, right? It's you at the end of the day. Not your spouse, not your child, not your significant other, not your cousins, not your brother, not your sister, not your aunt, you. That is where your self-worth comes from and your self-esteem and who you are. So first of all, it's not a group discussion or decision. Second of all, it's not up for debate for the people that are manipulative and controlling to have an opinion about you. Life is so much better and so much more peaceful and so much more enjoyable when you make a list of things you can control and things you cannot control. And when you realize that you cannot control what other people think of you or what they want to decide for you or how they view you, life is a lot easier when you realize I can control my emotions. I can control how I feel about a situation. I can control my actions. I can control removing myself from a situation, putting myself into a situation. I can decide for myself. I can control what I choose to engage in. I can control the people I surround myself with. I can control how I treat other people. The rest, ignore it. Because again, those sorts of people, the people that like to manipulate and whatever, they are exclusively looking at the category, the list of things that they can't control because they want to control everything. They want to control your actions, your mentality, your life, all these other things. But in reality, a normal person like you and me might look at that list and be like, okay, I can control these things. I cannot control these things. You can't control someone else's opinion of you. I mean, you could, but you'd be wasting your breath. It's their opinion of you. They can think whatever they want. It's so much better in life when you look at that list, the columns of things you can control, things you can't, and just stop looking at it. Life gets so much better. And it just breaks my heart for the people who look at that list of things that they can't control and they're like, but I can do it. I can control all that stuff, but I can change it. I can. I can't because I'm the best. I'm the smartest. I'm the best. It's like, no, babe, you're wasting your time and your breath in this life. You're wasting your time wishing people thought differently of you, wishing people were better, different, stronger, thinner, cooler, whatever, better at their job, making more money, whatever it is. That's exhausting. And again, it all is this like really vicious cycle that comes back to like these manipulative, controlling sorts of people are so wildly unhappy with their lives for whatever reason. That could be a deep therapy, childhood, whatever. Something stems from their own unhappiness and their just general not well-being, that they want to just point out the flaws in everybody else and change everything else. And it is just so mind-blowing. And hold on, I'm about to reference a Taylor Swift song. There's a lyric that's like, stop worrying so much about the things you can't change. He said, look at you, worrying so much about the things you can't change. You'll spend your whole life singing the blues if you keep thinking that way. Yeah. Miss Swift had a point, actually. Miss Swift actually kind of popped off with that lyric. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. This is a lyric from Taylor's song called Starlight on the Red, Taylor's Version album. He said, look at you, worrying so much about things you can't change. You'll spend your whole life singing the blues if you keep thinking that way. Bonus points for Taylor Swift. She always knows, dude. Yeah, that is like to a T. You will spend your whole life singing the blues if you are worried about the things that you can't control or the things you cannot change. So my advice to you, let that shit go. If you were worried about every other person in your life, again, not for like the things that matter, like, you know, the health of somebody else that you care about, or like if someone is like doing illegal or bad things, you probably should care about them. But I'm talking about Joe Schmo walking down the street. Who cares what he's doing? He's not bothering anybody. Let him be. Let them be. Who cares? Stop worrying about them and focus on you. Okay? Look yourself in the mirror and be like, am I happy? Can I make decisions in my own life that make sense? Can I improve myself? Can I improve any relationship that I'm in? Can I do anything better or different? Am I showing up for my friends? Am I showing up for a spouse, a significant other, a friend, my child, my, whoever? And if you can't reflect and look in the mirror and think about the things that you're doing, then you're going to waste a lot of your life. And it's going to be very miserable to just be so focused on things you cannot change. I guess it's a good thing I have a part-time job just yapping on the internet, because I just about rapid fired that episode. That was like, I was just spitting facts the whole dang time. Yeah, that's a topic I'm very passionate about, if you can't tell. I have a lot of experience with narcissists and people who are very controlling, and it's a very freeing thing to look through that lens and be like, wow, I actually don't have to associate with you anymore. I actually can separate myself from you. My God, is it freeing? And if you feel like you're stuck in a relationship with someone who's like that, you have a parent who's like that, you have a sibling who's like that, you have again, fill in the blank, whoever, you can separate yourself from them. It's not an easy process necessarily to just cut this person out of your life or to move on or to separate yourself, but giving that time with that person, space, talking less frequently, building some kind of a barrier or boundaries is so worth it, because your mental health, your peace, your well-being, and the human being that you are is worth so much more than being with someone who wants to change everything about you and control you and manipulate you. I promise. And my heart goes out to people who are in relationships with a significant other who is like that. I have seen that. I've lived it. It's heartbreaking, because especially when you see someone who is so amazing and so worthy and so deserving of a good life and good things and all the best, amazing, wonderful things, and you're like, this person deserves literally everything in life, good, to see them be completely just degraded and stripped of all happiness and joy and pride in themselves. And it's devastating because of the person that they're with. So your homework is to look at the people in your life, maybe make a list, or, a list on paper or just a mental list. And I want you to go through and name qualities about these people and why they're in your life. Do they support you? Are they emotionally intelligent? Are they helpful? Are they caring? Do they care about you? Would they help you in a situation where you needed help? Think about, has this person ever said something so harsh to me that it was not like productive feedback? It was like, no, change who you are. Is it someone who never asks you about your day? Is it someone who never asks you how you are? Never texts you and says, what's going on? How are you? Haven't talked to you in a while. Can I do anything for you? I just want you to look at the people in your life and evaluate those sorts of things. Not everybody's perfect. People go through shit in life. They have rough childhoods. They have rough adulthoods. They have mental illnesses that can quite literally prevent them from being empathetic or understanding. But it's not your responsibility to keep that person in your close circle, because that over time is going to wear you down and you are just going to feel like a nobody of a human being, because over time they are going to get under your skin and they are going to make you feel much less than a human being. And you do not deserve that. Nobody fucking deserves that, especially the people who bring joy and light and happiness and wholesomeness to life and to relationships. Those people especially don't deserve to be around narcissists and manipulative people who just want to change everything, make them feel bad about themselves, or make them feel bad about the choices that they're making or the things that they're doing or the way they look or the way they talk or the way they walk. Okay? If someone in your life is not serving you and all they're doing is manipulating you or wanting you to change, goodbye. See ya. I'm out. I don't deserve that, and I'm not here for it. Okay? You're going to get the scissors, add the kitchen drawer, cut them out of your life. That was like my ASMR scissor. Don't actually physically hurt them or cut them, but hypothetically, mentally, figuratively cut them out of your life. You deserve a lot better. Besties, you do. Pains me to see people in relationships like that, or have friends like that, or parents like that. So focus on you, babes. Okay? You can escape the shackles of someone who's manipulating you, I promise. Not always easy. I get it. And sometimes manipulation comes with physical abuse or other mental abuse and isolation, whatever. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to leave. I hope we have this relationship now where you guys know I'm not just like, everything's fine. If you just do this, you'll be great. Like, clearly those are not. There are many situations where people cannot just leave. They are quite literally trapped or whatever, or there's children involved or whatever. But for whatever you can control and protect your peace, I highly recommend it. Find a way to isolate from them, space yourself out from them, distance yourself, whatever it be, because your peace and your mental health is so much more important. Trust me. Honestly, shout out to my therapist, Leslie. Hey girl, she doesn't watch my podcast. I hope not. You never know. You know what? I use my real government name for everything online. So that was my own dang fault. I should have had like a pseudonym when I started all this stuff. Could have been like Kayla Chats or something. But anywho, let's end the episode. Yeah, I could talk forever and a day. Hey, I should have a podcast. Hey, that's crazy. Also, my matcha, it was already watery when we started because I made it so long ago, and I've been yapping the whole dang episode. It's super watery again. It's very, very watered down, and things that have milk substance in them, usually not that good. Okay. Hey friends, end of the episode. I'm going to hit you with a random fun fact. We didn't do it last week, but we're back, baby. We are back. All right. Did you know that in the human body, the circulatory system is more than 60,000 miles long? I have no sources for that, but I found it online, so it must be true. Thank you guys so much for listening to another week's episode of Girl on the Internet podcast. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you take care of yourself and your mental health and the people in your life that are worth it and you care about. And go easy on yourself. Take care of you. Do something nice. And I'll see you next week with a new episode. Bye, guys.